Today we are reading The Red Kitchen Reader by Simocles Quo. Though naturally modest, I must admit to some pleasure in being dubbed by our Empress's father, the late Plagueis IV, as the finest connoisseur in Tamriel. He was also good enough to appoint me the first, and to this day, the only master of cuisine in the imperial court. Other emperors, of course, had master chefs and cooks in their staff, but only during the reign of Plagueis was there someone of rarefied taste to plan the menus and select the finest produce to be served at court. His son Uriel requested that I continue in that position, but I was forced to graciously decline the invitation because of age and poor health. This book, however, is not intended to be an autobiography. I have had a great many adventures in my life as a knight of fine dining, but my intention for this book is much more specific. Many times I have been asked, what is the best thing you ever ate? The answer to that is not a simple one. Much of the pleasure of a great meal is not only in the food, it is in the setting, the company, the mood. Eat an indifferently cooked roast or a simple stew with your one true love, and it is a meal to be remembered. Have an excellent 12-course feast with dull company while feeling slightly ill, and it will be forgotten or remembered only with distaste. Sometimes meals are memorable for the experiences that come before them. Fairly recently, in northern Skyrim, I had a bit of bad luck. I was with a group of fishermen observing their technique of capturing a very rare, very delicious fish called Meringer. The fish is found only far from shore, so it was a week's voyage out beyond civilization. Well, we found our school of Meringer, but as the fishermen began spearing them, the blood in the water attracted a family of drow, who capsized the boat and everyone on it. I managed to save myself, but the fishermen and all our supplies were lost. Sailing is not, alas, a skill I have picked up over the years, and it took me 3 weeks with no provisions to find my way back to the Kingdom of Solitude. I had managed to catch enough small fish to eat raw, but I was still delirious from hunger and thirst. The first meal I had on shore of a Nordic roast boar, Jazbay wine, and yes, filet of Meringer would have been excellent under any circumstances, but because of the threat of starvation I had faced, it was a divine beyond words. Sometimes meals are even memorable for the experiences that follow them. In a tavern in Felinisti, I was introduced to a simple peasant dish called kalapi. Delicious little balls of flesh, thick with spices and juice, so savory I asked the proprietress whence they came. Mother Pascot explained that kalapi were an arboreal rodent that fed exclusively on the most tender branches of the grot oak, and I was fortunate enough to be in Valenwood at the time of the annual harvest. I was invited to join with a small colony of Imga monkeys who alone could gather these succulent little mice. Because they lived only on the slenderest branches of the trees and only on the ends of those same branches, the Imga had to climb beneath them and jump up to pick the kalapi from their perches. Imga are, of course, naturally dexterous, but I was relatively young and spry, and they let me help them. While I could never jump as high as they could, with practice I found that if I kept my head and upper body rigid and launched off the ground with a scissors-like kick, I could reach the kalapi on the lowest branches of the tree. I believe I gathered 3 kalapi myself, enough, though with considerable effort. To this day I salivate at the thought of kalapi, but my mind is on the image of myself and several dozen imgas leaping around beneath the shade of the grot oaks. Then, of course, there are the rare meals memorable for what came before, after, and during the meal, which brings me to the finest thing I ever ate, the meal that began my lifelong obsession with the excellent cuisine. As a child growing up in Shadenhall, I did not care for the food at all. I recognized the value of nutrition, but I was not a complete dullard. But I cannot say that mealtime brought me any pleasure at all. Partially, of course, this was the fault of my family's cook, who believed that spices were an invention of the Daedra, and that good Imperials should like their food boiled, textureless, and flavorless. Though I think she was alone in assigning a religious significance to this, my sampling of traditional Sidrolic cuisine suggests that philosophy is regrettably common in my homeland. Though I did not enjoy food per se, I was not a morose, unadventurous child in other aspects. I enjoyed the fights in the arena, of course, and nothing made me happier than wandering the streets of my town, with my imagination as my only companion. It was on one such jaunt on a sunny Fridas in mid-year that I made a discovery that changed my heart and my life. There were several old, abandoned houses down the street from my own home, and I often played around them, imagining them to be filled with desperate outlaws or haunted by hundreds of evil spirits. I never had the nerve to go inside. In fact, had I not that day seen some other children who had delighted in teasing me in the past, I would have never gone in, but I needed a sanctuary, so I ran into the closest one. The house seemed to be as desolate on the inside as the outside, further proof that no one lived there, and had not for some time. When I heard footsteps, I could only assume that the loathsome little urchins I hoped to avoid had followed me in. I escaped to the basement, and from there past a broken-down wall that led to a well. I could still hear the footsteps above, and I decided that I was still loath to confront my tormentors. Knocking aside the rusty locks on the well, I slipped down below. The well was dry, but I discovered it was far from empty. There was a sort of sub-basement in that house. 3 large rooms that were clean, furnished, and evidently not abandoned at all. My senses told me someone living in the house after all. Not only my sense of sight, but my sense of smell. For one of the rooms was a large, red-painted kitchen, and spread out on the coals of the oven was a roast, carved into little morsels. Passing a beautiful and appropriate bas-relief of a mother carving a roast for her grateful children, I beheld the kitchen and the wonders within. Like I said, food had never interested me before, but I was transfixed, and even now as I write this, words fail me in describing the rich aroma that hung in the air. It was like nothing I'd ever smelled in my family's kitchen, and I was unable to stop myself from popping one of the steaming chunks of meat into my mouth. The taste was magical, the flesh tender and sweet. Before I knew it, I had eaten everything on the stove, and I learned at that very second the truth that food can and should be sublime. After gorging myself and having a culinary epiphany, I was conflicted on what to do. Part of me wanted to wait down in that red kitchen until the chef returned so I could ask him what his secret recipe was for the delicious meat. Part of me recognized that I had stolen into someone's house and eaten their dinner, and it would be wise to leave while I could. That is what I did. Time and again I tried to return to that strange, wonderful place, but Shaden Hall has changed over time. Old houses have been reclaimed, and new houses abandoned. I know what to look for on the inside of the house: the well, the beautiful etching of a woman preparing to carve out a roast for her children, the red kitchen itself, but I have never been able to find the house again. After a while, as I grew older, I stopped trying. It is better as it remains in my memory, the most perfect meal I ever ate. The inspiration for my life that followed was cooked up together with that fabulous meat right there in that red kitchen. Our next book today is Troll Slaying by Finn. Hello, fellow traveler, and welcome to this guide. Within these pages, I will explain everything you need to know about fighting trolls, including how to negate their amazing healing powers and how best to take advantage of their natural love of cold. I'll even share with you my tried and true secret for killing trolls. Intrigued? I hope so. Troll fat is a valuable commodity, and there's fortune and glory to be made for the ambitious troll hunter. Onward, then! Chapter 1. I just saw a troll. If you think you've seen a troll, remain calm and slowly back away. The wise hunter knows that preparation is the key to success, and you certainly don't want to hunt any trolls unprepared. But is it really a troll that you've spotted? The first step in your hunt is the proper identification of your quarry. Trolls are roughly man-shaped, with lengthy, muscular arms that end in claw-tipped fingers. The creature's large mouth is filled with jagged teeth, all the better to crunch the bones of foolish hunters who didn't purchase my book. Without a doubt, the troll's most distinctive and unusual feature is the third eye nestled in the center of its forehead. The troll's hide is covered in thick, shaggy fur. The coloration of this fur varies by region. Cave troll fur is brownish in color, while a frost or snow troll will have a white coat. Chapter 2. Stop healing yourself. So you've properly identified a troll, and you're now stalking the beast, ready to strike. You're in for a challenging battle, but a profitable one, assuming you survive. The first thing you'll notice is that trolls are incredibly fast and strong for their size. A troll likes to pummel its prey into submission with powerful arm strikes and claw attacks. For this reason, I strongly recommend a shield. If you're brave enough, or foolish enough, to fight a troll without using a shield, then you better be an expert at parrying with whatever weapon you've got. Trolls also have the ability to rapidly heal from their wounds. As such, you do not want to get into a prolonged fight with one. Speed and aggression are the key to beating a troll, because there is no creature in Tamriel that can outlast one. Of course, speed and aggression will only take you so far against an angry troll. This is where my secret weapon comes in. Chapter 3. Finn's secret weapon. Fire, my friend. Say the word and commit it to memory, for fire is the troll hunter's ultimate weapon. I cannot overstate the importance of fire in battling a troll. Even trolls that don't dwell in cold climates are vulnerable to fire. If you're unable to use fire magic, carry a weapon enchanted with arcane flames. Why is the troll vulnerable to fire? Rumor holds that the troll's regenerative abilities are less effective at healing burns. I don't really know the answer, but I can promise you this. Fire works against trolls. This has been proven time and again. Chapter 4. Trimming the Fat. The troll might be dead, but your job isn't finished just yet. Let the flames die down and then examine the troll's corpse. If you're lucky, you'll find some fat deposits that will fetch a good price in an apothecary shop. In fact, if you've got a knack for alchemy yourself, you can boil the fat down and use it in a manner of potions and tonics. If you can find it, be sure to check the troll's den as well. Perhaps you'll find the remains of some foolish adventurer who was too cheap-minded to purchase this book. No doubt you can put his coin to wiser use. Now that you know everything that you need to make a living as a wealthy and reputable troll hunter. Go on then, get out there and find yourself some trolls. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed these 2 books, and I'll see you next time.